Hey everybody, how you doing? What's going on? Are you curious about Ark Invest? Are you curious about Cathie Wood? I know I am. Well, I became curious about her when I heard her Tesla prediction back in January of this year. I believe that her Tesla prediction has certainly made her famous around the world. I don't know if she was already famous before January 2020, but I do know that she's pretty much famous now because of what's happened with Tesla stock this year in 2020. I'm starting to talk more about Cathie Wood and Ark in my videos here on my investing series videos. And I'm doing a quick video today because I found quite a good interview with Cathie. And this way you'll get to actually see what she looks like, because I've done a lot of videos where I actually talk about Ark Invest and I talk about Cathie, but I don't really always show her face, so you don't really have a way to reference it if you're on YouTube here and there. But basically, I'll also go ahead and send a link to this video if you want to check it out on your own. But I'm going to cover quite a bit of material. Well, I'm going to cover quite a bit of this interview because she talks about a couple really good things. I mean, the main thing in the spirit of this video is to show you that here we are at the end of 2020. The time of this recording is December 29th, 2020. The interview was actually just a couple days ago on Bloomberg, actually, here in December 2020. And she still foresees 20% plus returns. She's expecting their assets under management, which is now 50 billion, to actually double, in 5 years, right? So she's kind of forecasting 100% return on your investment, each 5 years. So let's go ahead and hop into the recording. This way you'll get a visual on Cathie. We're going to go through a couple parts of it. I'm going to provide some commentary for you as well. Also, I'm going to go through Ark website. I'm going to show you how to sign up to get their trading alerts if you don't already know how to do that. I also have another video. I'll go ahead and put a link at the top here so that you can take a look at that video and see how to go and sign up for the Ark trading desk. You'll get literally almost every day. You'll get an email when they actually make their trades. Okay, we're going to hop over there.
I'm Eric Schatzker, and welcome to Bloomberg's Front Row. Today I'm talking to Cathie Wood, the CEO of Ark Investment Management and active ETF superstar. You might know Cathie for predicting back in 2018 that Tesla would hit $4,000 a share. She hung on amid a torrent of scorn on social media. Now that, and many of her other bets on disruptive innovation, are paying off massively. Cathie's biggest ETF has returned well in excess of 100%. And Ark's assets have swelled to $50 billion.
We still think there's a lot of room or runway ahead because what we think is not well understood is exponential growth.
Cathie has confidence. We talked about the genome stocks she thinks can outperform Tesla, how Ark uses social media.
This is a quick overview of everything that they're going to talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to skip right now. I'm going to skip to the area where she talks about what she's forecasting for her next 5 years.
Media to such great effect, an ownership dispute that threatened her firm.
And not only in their worry us at all, our investment time horizon is 5 years. And we have projections which we develop from the top down, trying to understand how technologies are going to scale, and from the bottom up, how companies are going to embrace these new technologies and ride their coattails. And just looking at the portfolios today, this is after the triple-digit gain, as you have said. For the next 5 years, we believe that our returns will compound at an annual rate of something in the low 20% range. And this is in a market where traditional equity returns have been in.
Hey, everybody. So what I'm going to do is, what's interesting, I think that she's given a very nice and modest forecast. Ark has done very well, certainly, in 2020 and then over the last year. The two funds that I have a position in are Ark Innovation and then next generation internet. Okay, and I got the Ark site open. I'm going to show you right now, and both of those have about 80% plus return year to date, and then over 100% return on a trailing 12-month basis. I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you right now. I hop in here to the Ark website. Let me go ahead and minimize my screen some for you. Okay, so if you take a look, I'm right now at next generation internet, and they show you the performance. So right here, year to date, is about that 88% figure, and then 1 year is about 123%, which is just on fire. Just in case you are, just in case you're interested, I also did a video. I've got it all here on video, where here on YouTube, sorry, where I go through some of my accounts, or really one of my particular brokerage firms, where there's a pretty reasonably substantial amount of assets there, and I show you how I actually beat the S&P 500 going back to the middle of the summer 2017. So that's basically 3+ years. And I beat it 3x, right? So they're at about 98%, and I'm at 300% plus. I've actually been investing for decades, so that is 3 years is a good time horizon. But at least so you know that is one of my track records as far as that 300% in about a 3-year time frame. So let's go ahead and anyway. So that is the Ark next generation internet, and then this is the innovation. So the innovation, their performance is year to date about 83%, and then 1 year 115. So that is their performance there. So let's go ahead and hop into what she's saying.
In the 7 to 8% range over time. So we still think there's a lot of room or runway ahead, because what we think is not well understood is exponential growth. I think if we step back and look at Amazon in the early 2000s, I remember buying that stock, and many people derided that decision.
She's going to talk about Amazon, which is good. It's good. Early 2000s. I guess we all wish we invested in Amazon in the early 2000s.
The tech and telecom bust, which is, the internet is a figment of Wall Street's imagination. What makes you think Amazon's ever going to make any money? And if you did at that time assume that Amazon's revenue growth would compound at a 20 to 30% rate for the next 20 years, you would have bought that stock all day long, even if you were using a dividend discount model, right?
All right, so real quick, I'm going to interject here. So what she's going to do, she's talking about Amazon right now. Then right after that, she's going to talk about Tesla. In case you're not aware, again, this is, of course, it's Cathie Wood, the CEO here of Ark Invest, and she is the one that's famous for putting a bull, a base, and a bear case for Tesla, and the base case being a $7,500 price target. Again, this is pre-split, that they had a split at some point in the spring, and she made this price target announcement in January of this year. And that price target of $7,500 was for 2024, okay? And she's going to talk about Tesla after that. Then she's going to talk about, we're going to talk about kind of what the top 5 holdings are of Ark. One of them is one that I've actually loved and been in since they went public, which is Roku. And then we're going to talk about Bitcoin, okay? So we're going to go hop to these areas, and I'm going to skip a little bit here for you.
I feel like our portfolios are filled with Amazons because the seeds for what we are doing now, they were planted in the tech and telecom bubble, and they have been gestating all this time, and now they're breaking out to those growth trends, just like Amazon did.
So the portfolio may not be able to replicate the 500+% gain it's had in the past 5 years, but it should be, based on what you just told me, well over 100%. It should double plus in the next 5 years.
Yes, we expect more than a doubling in our portfolios over the next 5 years.
If I look backward, as you well know, Tesla accounts for almost a fifth of the return that you have generated in that 5-year time span. Which of your current holdings, Cathie, do you think will supply the biggest lift in the next 5 years?
Tesla's still in the running, but I would have to say the biggest upside surprises are going to come from the genomics space.
All right, so we're gonna pause there. So I actually don't follow too much in genomics. Certainly watched a few documentaries on it, and have an interest in taking some positions in the genomics ETF that Ark has. But right now, I'm just in the. I've got a very small exposure to the next generation internet and then the Ark innovation. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to hop to their top 5 holdings that they have over at Ark, which is I'm going to take you to that screen right now, and then after that, we're going to do a little bit of talk that she has about Bitcoin, which I think is actually very interesting. They have about a 7% exposure to Bitcoin, and she talks about why they actually had to reduce that exposure, something to do with the way that the IRS, codes the income from Bitcoin.
And that's because the convergence of DNA sequencing, artificial intelligence, and gene therapies, importantly CRISPR gene editing, are going to cure disease. That convergence is going to cure.
There you go, everybody. Top 5 holdings: Tesla, CRISPR, Roku, Square, and Invitae. I have some positions in Tesla. I don't know how you all feel about Tesla. I mean, basically what I'll say is that Tesla is now, at the time of this recording, again, it's December 29th, 2020. The market cap is $630 billion. And the price target is, and they were already added to the S&P 500, Monday, December 21st. So I don't really know. I'm holding on to Tesla. I did increase my position right before they went into the S&P 500, but I'm at about an 8.5% exposure. I think it's a great company. I think they will be successful in the long term, but I'm not really sure how much upside the stock really has in 2021. That's why I'm just going to be real conservative on it. Roku, is my favorite. Pretty much they went public in 2017, and then I bought their shares shortly after. In fact, I do have their financials open here, but I'm not really going to go into the financials of Roku. I talk a lot about Roku in a lot of the videos that I do. Right now, at the time of this recording, Roku is pretty attractive still. Their market cap it did just hit 40 billion at the time of this recording. Again, it's December 29, 2020, and their market cap today is 43 billion. Their price is about 339. I think Roku is a great target to kind of pick up some shares. At least for me, they're a great target for me to pick up some shares when they actually have a red day. But I've been in Roku since, well before they were a $10 billion market cap company. And, the reality is Roku just, recently, I believe it was this year, they actually have, a higher than $1 billion run rate. Let's actually take a look real quick. This is, all right, Roku, their most recent, yeah, they did actually, I'm sorry. Their most recent 12-month revenue, which is full year 2019, they did have $1.1 billion. So they did climb above that $1 billion figure. But that's, at least in my experience, that's been a great time to actually get into a company, get into that growth tech right when they're about to hit $1 billion in sales. And the fact is that with Roku, might, in terms of evaluating opportunities, and if you want to take 5x or 10x, your investment, the way that I think about it is, can this, company 10x their revenues? Can they go from $1 billion to 10 billion? And to me, it seems very logical that that Roku can do that. If you take a look, I have a lot of background with Netflix. And I actually pulled out my 2012, which at this point is like, oh my goodness, like what, 8 years ago, analysis of Netflix. And if you take a look at it, at the time that I started, I actually got into Netflix in 2011, but I didn't really break down their financials until 2012. And if you take a look at it, their revenues at the time, full year 2011 revenues were 3 billion, right? 3.2 billion. And what's funny is their market cap was 3 billion at the time as well. I mean, now it's, I don't even know. Let me take a look real quick. It's 200 something billion that the Netflix market cap. Yeah, 234 billion. So obviously that's a big return there. But in general, if you take a look at it now, and again, this is the most recent earnings release, an earnings call that Netflix had. If you take a look at their most recent full year revenues, Roku's right there at about 20 billion. So what's funny is they're very similar to Tesla. Tesla does have more revenue than than Netflix, because Tesla's at about 24 billion. But the actual gross profit at Netflix is higher. Here we are in 2020, and they've got a 38% gross margin. And then in 2012, I think that their gross margin was actually pretty similar as well, 36.38. So they've actually held a very, very similar gross profit margin the whole time from full year 2011 all the way till now. And then again, I'm calculating full year 2019, which is the most recent full year that they've provided. But if you look at it, that's a great opportunity. I mean, if you figure I got into Netflix when it was 3 billion, in revenues, right? And it's climbed up to 20 now from 2011 all the way to full year 2019. Same thing with Roku. I mean, there's no reason that I look at Roku, and in a way, I see it as a better opportunity than Netflix, because they can do all the content and all of the licensing and video streaming that Netflix does, but they also have hardware. They have the wireless speakers that you can access the Roku. They've got, all these different Rokus you can get. They actually make TVs now. They're putting it inside of other TVs. So there's a lot more components to their business, and they have a big advertising component. I don't know what the future of their advertising on their streaming is going to be, but I do know it's a pretty big revenue component of their business. So I'm actually very excited. I'm excited to see, Roku. I believe that it's more likely than not that Roku, will generate $10 billion a year in revenues. I don't know when that's going to be. We don't know. We'll never know. But I do think they are a likely candidate to do that, to 10x their revenues. And I'm going to be increasing my position. As of right now, I've got 10% exposure, to Roku, and I'm interested in actually increasing it even more than that. So let me go ahead and go back to where are we at? We're going to listen to her talk about Bitcoin real quick, and then
disease. Now we have real science and technology surfacing the mutations.
Very favorable white papers on Bitcoin, but so far as I can tell, there has been no Bitcoin in the Ark Innovation ETF for more than a year and a half. How come?
Yes, well, we put it in at a 1% position in 2015 when Bitcoin was $250. And we scaled with it. We didn't sell it at all. So it hit 10% of the portfolio, at which point we were forced to sell. And at the same time, there was some forking taking place. So we were getting distributions. And what we learned is that Bitcoin threw off what's called unqualified income, which is not illegal. But from an IRS point of view, if our portfolios generate more than 10% of gross profits in unqualified income, which is usually commodity-like income, the IRS allows that 10% and then will confiscate the rest of it. So if we moved into a black swan event where the equity markets imploded and Bitcoin took off, our clients would be able to keep only 10% of that gain. And we just thought this was too much of a risk from the fiduciary point of view to subject our investors to. So what we did is we moved out of it in early 18, better lucky than smart, because
Full of bullishness?
we are extremely bullish. Our confidence in it has gone up since 2017, because what we saw as it dropped from 20,000 to below 4,000, it actually got well into the threes, I think in 2019, was that Bitcoin's share of the crypto asset ecosystem moved from the low 30% chain is the most secure. Oh no, not at all.
You're famous, but it also...
So there you go. That is her explanation there on Bitcoin. Basically, I didn't really see it, but she does talk about how they have a 7% exposure to Bitcoin in all their accounts, not necessarily including including, of course, their ETFs, but then other accounts that are not necessarily their ETFs. If you go into Ark, I want to show you in their next generation internet. I'm going to minimize my screen. Where the exposure you can see from Ark is in what's called Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. GBTC is the ticker symbol. And is that where we are? No, that's Ark Innovation. So let's go to next generation internet. And you can see right here, this is the actual Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, 3.48%. So 3.48%, that's the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I actually have about 2% exposure to that on my own, so you can get some exposure to the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust inside of ARK if you go to that next generation internet ETF that they have there at ARK. So there you go. That is your video today on Cathie Wood and what they're doing over at ARK. Very exciting stuff. I've been seeing a lot, pretty much of Cathie all year. Everybody, that concludes the video for that particular portion. If you aren't already, you can generate leads, generate profits, or just earn income from your social media profiles. My program is called Profile Profit Machine, and you'll see a link, down below here. You can partner with me and the world record holder for the fastest website funnel to hit $1 million in sales, and that record is 28 days. You just come in, you can completely copy and clone our funnel and use it as your own business with as little as 90 minutes of training, and we've generated over $17 million in sales from our funnels. Also, I came out with a wealth and instant credit blueprint. You can get five, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guaranteed credit cards from it. My wealth blueprint and credit blueprint covers online income, investing, credit, business credit, and then also financial independence. And then it has a whole credit guide at the end. It's about a 15-page credit guide, which gives you all the companies in the US that give you a free credit score, plus all the companies that give a free FICO score and the corresponding bureau with that. And it's only $7, only $7 for all that. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Let me know what you think about ARK. Let me know what you think about Cathie Wood. Also, if you want to hit me on social media, you can do that too. You can find me, John C. Howard. I got a page on Facebook. And then, you can find me on Instagram, and I'm SoCal Johnny C. Thanks a lot.